This is the Pointstreak Performance demo. We're going to start off by the Time on Ice shift tracking app. Once you open the application found on your iPad, you will need to go to the Settings tab and log in to your Performance account. Once you have logged in, all the information pertaining to games and rosters will be imported inside of the application. You are now ready to select your game inside of the Games tab. You will need to select the game that you need to work on that night, and your rosters will be automatically imported inside of your application. In the Players tab, you will have the ability to view your rosters, make modifications to your rosters, and make players active or inactive for your healthy scratch. Upon completion of your rosters, you can now head to the Lives tab. Once in the Lives tab, you can then input your roster according to lines, and then you can make players active by simply either clicking on a player or dragging him, dropping him in the position you want. You can make an entire line active by either clicking on the puck or clicking on an individual player. Select your starting goaltender, and then you'd be ready to go. All your possible hockey situations, power play, penalty kills are found on the top of the app, and all you need to do is start the clock. Once you start the clock, you'll be prompted for a face-off. You can either enter a face-off win or a face-off lost. Once you have collected that, all the data will then be found and collected. Same thing for goals, shots, shots for and against. And as soon as you click on another player, his data will start being compiled. Once your period is over, you have the ability to generate reports. In the Reports tab, you will notice that you have many options that you can use by either generating multi-game reports, individual play reports, and individual game reports. All the data that has been compiled for that game will be then found inside of the report. You will have the time on ice of the players. You can have individual player stats for periods or entire game, which can then be exported as a PDF either by email or as an outside application for PDFs. Once your game is done, in the Games tab, you have the ability to export all the data from the Time on Ice app inside your Performance Cloud. Simply by clicking Export Time on Ice, that information will then be sent and available to you to import inside of your Steve Hockey Pro. Inside your Steve Hockey Pro, you will need to find the Roster tab and import your Time on Ice. You would then be prompted to enter your username and password for Pointstreak Performance. And then you will need to select the season in which the game you just worked on Time on Ice and the game. You will need to download the game and then simply select the video files associated to that game. If you have multiple files, you select those files as individual periods. If you have one single file, you select that same file for each and every period that you have. Once you are done, you select no more files, and you will be prompted to sync in the first opening face-off of each period. If you have one video file, you would find the opening face-off for that single period and sync that throughout your video. If you have multiple videos, then you just sync in the first period or the first face-off of that period. Once it's done, you select your game and you click Next. And you will see that the time on ice data has been imported. Your data can now be found inside of your review screen and in the appropriate team tab for all your shifts to review inside of your Steva Hockey Pro. You now have the ability to take those games and those markings with the time on ice and post it to your performance account. By clicking Post Game to Performance, you'll be prompted to open the program Pointstreak Jam, log in your performance account, and you will notice the video files associated to your game to your left and your team library to your right. You select Games, select the season, select the game you want the videos associated with, and you would click Finish. Once ready, you can log into your Pointstreak Performance account. You will notice that this dashboard is the main communication hub for your entire team. All your recent events will be found. Your condensed version of your calendar will be found, in which team administrators, players can enter different events distributed to different categories. You will need to enter in all the information that is asked of you. You have also the ability to link videos to those events. You also have the ability to upload files associated to that event. All your games, previous and upcoming, will be found just under your calendar. In the Users tab, you have the ability to create players and give them access to your performance account. Under Current Roster, you have the ability to add those players, which will then enable them to create a personal public profile. By clicking Add a Player and entering his information, entering his email, you also have the ability to either create a password for that player or auto-generate one. And as soon as that is complete, your player has full access to your performance account. Team administrators and coach will have the ability to see when a player logged in, and the team also has the ability to create different line charts simply by grabbing a player, dragging and dropping the player in the position that he wants, and then he has the ability to use those line charts to promote his entire team. Once a player has moved on, the coaching staff and team administrators have the ability to send those players inside of the alumni page. Players in the alumni page will keep their public profile. TAs have the ability to create different staff members. Same process as the players, you need to input all the information, select the role of the staff member, and add him. As soon as the staff member is added, he has access to the performance account. You also have the ability to create groups inside of performance. Simply by clicking add group, you can create power play groups, penalty kill groups, or coaching groups. Inside of the calendars tab, you will notice that this is a more complex version of the calendar. You have the ability, again, by simply clicking on the date, to create different events, associate those events to videos, upload different kind of files. Players have the ability to create their own personal calendar, which then coaching staff has the ability to view. And you also have the ability to export to iCal. Team members also have the ability to enter events in specific categories like strength and conditioning. You can add videos associated to strength and conditioning. You can add files in association with that. And you have the ability to create those events specifically for health and conditioning and health and nutrition directly inside their own section of Pointstreak Performance. Simply by clicking add an article and entering the information, you will add that event either on a calendar or directly inside of the tab Health and Nutrition. Everything else that does not fall under Health and Nutrition and Strength and Conditioning will be found inside of your team events. Again, by clicking add article, you have the ability to create different kinds of article for team event, whether it be team practice or outside of the rink events. Video event tags is the same principle as the tagging or the keys inside of Stiva. You have the abilities to generate those keys and add hotkeys to be able to break down video inside of the video editor inside of Pointstreak Performance. Inside library, you will notice the two main video file structure of the Pointstreak Performance. You have My Library, which consists of all your personal library that you want to be kept for yourselves. You have the ability to create different folders for different purposes simply by adding the name of the folder and creating it. Coaching staff now has the ability in those folders to create databases of practice plans, meal plans, and any other ideas that you can keep as a database. You also have the ability to create different playlists from your video editor tool and bring that directly inside of your library. In the team library, everything that is found inside of this folder is shared throughout your team. All your games during the season will be put inside of the team library. You can still create different folders for different kind of events. To add a game, you simply click on the Games tab, either select a season or create a new season, and then input the information and add the game. All the videos that were posted to Performance from Stiva will be found in association with those games that you chose inside of Stiva. Players will now have the ability to either watch those games directly under the Games tab or download those games by simply clicking on the Download tab just over top of the single videos. Inside of the video section, players will now have the ability, because of the Time on Ice shift tracking app, to view individual shifts for every single game of their season by simply selecting the season, selecting the game, and the player finds his name inside of the list and has the ability to view shift by shift his entire game. In the video editor section, you will have the ability to import video from your library and further break down games or create different playlists from markings that you've already created inside of your Stiva Hockey Pro. By simply selecting the season and the game, all the brute video file will be found to your right, all your markings will be found at the bottom, every event that you've created inside of Stiva will now be sortable, just like in your review screen in Stiva. Simply by selecting the sorted event, a new tab will be created and all your events will be sorted at the bottom of your screen. Players can, by selecting their names, bring a playlist of all of their shifts, which will open up a new tab, and they will now be able to review their shifts one by one, and from there create different playlists, which they can then add to their public profile to use as promotion tool. To create a playlist, you select the plus sign, you name your playlist, and you click OK. Every video that is dragged and dropped inside of the playlist will now be automatically saved. Coaching staff and players now have the ability to tag different events inside of their Pointstreak Performance account, simply by either clicking on the box or clicking on the hotkey on your keyboard. The event will be thrown at the back of your list of your taggings. Every player has the ability to create their own personal profile. All the information can be added inside of their profile by simply clicking on the Add button on top and adding all their personal information, adding academic information, all their stats. They can input all their playlists that they have created through the video editor. They can make it public or private. They can also add different kinds of files in regards to SATs, GPAs, different awards, associate their accounts to social media, and once it's done, that player has a public profile with all his information. Coaching staff will now have the ability, by simply clicking on the link, copying that link, they have the ability now to send information to different recruiters, media members, or fans to promote their players. In the Recruiters tab, coaching staff and team administrators have the entire database for the Canadian universities, NCAA, they have now the ability to contact different schools for their players.